Everyone feels depressed. I'm saying the idea of depression as something you cannot control is a dangerous idea and paradigm. The reason so many people are committing suicide is because the Matrix is telling you that if you feel depressed, you cannot fix it. They tell you that depression is a disease that you can catch from the sky no matter how fantastic your life is, and you have no control over it. And I argue that absolutely. The reason the Matrix wants you depressed and sad is because when that happens, you are selfish. If you're depressed and sad, you only care about yourself. You don't care about your community or your family. You don't care about the world. You do not stand up for anything. You will accept being fucked in the ass like True Geordie. You'll accept any amount of garbage that they want to give you, any Matrix slave mind programming, because you're too busy being sad to resist. This is why they tell you that when you are depressed, it is a disease. It is not a disease. You're depressed because your reality is depressing. The truth is, if I lived the reality that most of these depressed people live, I'd be depressed. Your reality is depressing. You wake up, your wife doesn't love you, your kids don't respect you, there's no milk in the fridge, and you're almost dead. Of course you're depressed. You're running out of time. You never had any fun or adventure. Andrew Tate's out here with all his supercars, living the life. We're here in Dubai doing a podcast. You're a brokey. Of course you're depressed. That's because your reality is depressing you. The depression is something deep in your heart and soul telling you that you need to change things. That is the unlimited trauma, the power I was talking about earlier that you can take. Take all of that depression and convert it into unlimited energy to fix your life. Energy cannot be destroyed, it can only be converted. Take the depression and turn it into motivation. And all of a sudden, you'll see how fantastic your life is. A guy emailed me saying he was depressed, he was going to kill himself. And I said, listen, before you do that, get a six-pack. He said, what are you talking about? You're fat, get a six-pack. You still feel like killing yourself, good luck. By the time he sent me pictures of a six-pack, it was long emails thanking me how I saved his life. His reality was depressing. Of course you feel depressed if your reality is depressing. If your reality is fantastic, you won't feel depressed. I guarantee there's a whole bunch of people you can give $1 million to and the depression will disappear. The argument against that is why the famous people kill themselves, which I'm about to answer in a second. And the answer to that is actually going into the broader point. That the way the Matrix teaches about depression, they're trying to teach you to be hopeless. They're teaching you that you cannot fight against it unless you take pharmaceutical drugs. And I say that it is not real in that paradigm, and that believing that is the case is going to destroy you. Having no hope will prevent you from fighting back. They're telling you it's hopeless, and it is not. If you do not believe in depression, like I do not believe in depression, no matter what bad things happen to me and how bad and depressed I feel, I know I can fix it. That will make me fight harder than if I believe I cannot fix it. The reason that rich people kill themselves is because they buy into this paradigm completely. They go to a therapist, and the therapist says, you have depression. It's not your fault. It's a disease that nobody can fix, and I can't help, and nobody can help. Then they give them a bunch of mind-altering drugs. Then they sit them there in therapy to talk about all the bad thing that's ever happened to them. Let me tell you something. If someone told me that I felt shit and I couldn't help it, no matter what I did about my life, gave me a bunch of mind-altering drugs, and then sat me down to repeat all the bad shit that ever happened to me for hours and hours a day, I'd kill myself. It gets to a point where it just ain't fucking worth breathing anymore. That bollocks. But if you wake up and go, you know what? They're saying this is a disease, but I don't accept that paradigm. I don't believe it. I believe that I can fix this myself. I believe if I change my reality and create an experience of life that I am absolutely not satisfied by, I will no longer feel depressed. You will cure most of your own problems. Take two men, put them in two individual haunted houses. One believes in ghosts, one doesn't. There's a loud noise in the night. One that believes in ghosts wakes up and is paranoid, is afraid, can't sleep, is sitting in the corner of the room shaking. The one who doesn't believe in ghosts goes back to sleep. It is the belief in the ghost which punishes him, not the ghost itself. If you do not believe in depression, never. That's why I don't believe it. And to go into a broader point about all of that, I don't even give a shit if I'm wrong. Because I've adopted a mental model that makes me ultimately and utterly competitive in all realms of human endeavor. And if by me not believing in depression, I am better at fighting the idea of being depressed, if I am better at making myself feel happier, if I am better at regulating my emotions.
Yeah. He does not believe in taking, antidepressants. He doesn't believe in Ritalin. He doesn't believe in any of that stuff. I don't know where you stand with this medication stuff. He's not for it. And Matt Lauer is saying, what's wrong if this helped that Brooke Shields? What's wrong if this helps? I would say, you don't realize what this is doing. This is ruining their lives. This is not helping them. Do you realize how many different countries this is illegal in? Do you realize that Ritalin is only legal in a couple different countries? It's not many countries. It's not a legal drug in other places. It's legal. And he's explaining this. And believe it or not, afterwards, they pinned Tom Cruise to be a almost an asshole, like a misogynist. Like,
Of course.
what does it matter with you? Insensitive. You're not passionate. You're not somebody that cares about another person. Years later, Tom Cruise looks like the hero, but in the heat of the moment, he didn't come out really good, right? So we're living in an era where you're right. A part of it is, hey, you're not feeling good, you're depressed. Take 2 of these, see what happens to you.
It's the hero's arc, and this is the thing. This is why when I was saying, when people say you don't know how it feels to be depressed, I say yes, I do. The difference is how it's analyzed. I always argue this 2 ways as well when depressed people come to me, because one of my most famous things people attack me for is their little quote is they say, "You said depression isn't real. What about the man who kills themselves? You don't care about men's mental health." We've already discussed how I care more about men's mental health than these people who fucking pretending. It's the first thing. Say, I didn't say depression isn't real. I said feeling depressed is real. But the idea that depression is going to strike you in your mind and there's nothing you can do about it, I think that is promoting helplessness amongst depressed people, and that's the reason they kill themselves. I don't think that making people helpless in an unfortunate situation is the great thing to do. You have to give people hope. And I explained that when you believe in something, you give it power. So I tried to say that when I felt at my lowest and I achieved the most I've ever achieved in my life, the reason I was capable of doing that is because I didn't believe in the paradigm of being a depressed person. I just believed that this is how I currently feel, and fuck it, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to get my life to be better. And I gave a very simple example, an analogy. I said, if you take 2 people, one believes in ghosts and one doesn't, you put them both in haunted houses, and in the middle of the night there's a bang. The person who believes in ghosts is now terrified. There's a ghost, they're calling an exorcist, they're panicking in the room, they're hiding. The person who doesn't believe in ghosts goes, win, and goes back to sleep. It's the same noise, it's the same scenario, but it's the belief in their mind that terror and ruins their life. It's the belief in their mind that turns against them. And I've said this many times. I don't even give a shit about right and wrong. You can tell me depression's, you can get with every scientific proof in the world, depression, but I refuse to believe in things that take my power away from me. I'm only going to construct a mental model that allows me to be as powerful as possible. If believing in the idea of depression is going to take my own power away, then I won't believe in it. I don't want to believe in things that make me weak.